Hello and welcome to this syllabus video where I'm going to quickly go through the key points of the syllabus, and then your homework would be to then actually go through the syllabus and read it and make sure that you understand all that is available to you to help you throughout the semester, as well as what is to be expected of you throughout the semester. So in this video I'm looking at my B section, but please realize that if you're in my D section that everything is the same except for our class time. So to begin, my name is Eric Ruggles, and the best way to get a hold of me is through email at ericruggles@uvm.edu. Notice the period there between Eric and Ruggles. And my office is in Innovation 333. Or we could possibly meet over Teams depending on the needs that we have. My office hours are set Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's when I will be in my office. I don't have a problem meeting at other times or meeting in other venues such as Teams. But one requirement that I do ask is that everyone needs to make an appointment to come talk with me, regardless if this is something in the office or over Teams. That just makes, like the statement there, best use of our time, so that you're not waiting in the hallway while I deal with a prior student, or waiting in a line in the hallway, so that we can take care of meetings quickly and make, like I said, make best use of your time as well as mine. Class time for my B section is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2:50 to 4 o'clock. For my D section, that would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 2:20 to 3:10. Both classes then are in Innovation E102. If we are legitimately sick or at a sports event, because we're an athlete, I can hold my class time over Teams. But you have to get a hold of me and talk to me before I will do that. Our course objectives is basically, to learn general chemistry. We're going to talk about matter. We're going to talk about dimensional analysis and going from unit to unit. We'll get into stoichiometry with reactions, thermochemistry, talk about some quantum mechanics, definitely atomic structure, electronic structure, etc., 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 as well as performing experiments within, those lecture topics. So not only are we getting the lecture structure format, but we're also getting the hands-on experience with these concepts in lab. So this is a natural science course with the lab, and so that means that we have a lab requirement, which I'm sure we're aware of. And so this just kind of quickly details, some of the requirements that we have for what's known as a N2 style lab, in terms of what's going to be needed. We need to demonstrate scientific thought, observation, analysis, experimentation, hypothesis generation, all that good stuff, as well as making judgments, applying theories and models that we learned in class, as well as using that scientific method, that also important scientific method, when working with experiments. Probably the most important thing for us right now is the textbook. We're going to be using Burge and Overby's Chemistry Atoms First textbook. This is the 5th edition through McGraw-Hill Publishing. As well as using online access with Alex. Alex is going to be our online platform where we will be using that for quizzes as well as tests. There's also homework, if you so wish, to be done there too, in terms of practice homework. If you like I said. In terms of the textbook, there are really two options. One option is completely digital, which would be option 1. Option 2 is really more tactile, which is the actual book. So if you want, really kind of the most economical is going through option 1 and the digital realm. And in order to do that, please follow these 3 steps in terms of how to get purchasing the e-text through Alex. So in Brightspace, go to the green navigation pane and click Contents and Activities. And when you see, you'll see a list in terms of a table of contents on the left, and so you want to click the third option, which is labeled Alex, and then that's going to basically load up in a different window the Alex platform, and it's immediately going to ask you for a code or the ability to purchase Alex along with the e-text version of the textbook. There are different rentals that you could use, such as 18 weeks or 52 weeks. There is actually an all-out purchase where you can keep the e-text for life, so you can decide what you want to purchase there. And then anytime you're trying to access Alex, we should access it through that Brightspace account. So going to Brightspace, Content and Activities, and then clicking the 3 Alex links to then take us directly into our Alex site. This way, then it actually syncs very well with the Brightspace platform. So that way our Alex platform and Brightspace platform are talking to one another. If you're more tactile, then option 2 is your choice, and that can be purchased through the UVM bookstore. This is a loose leaf version, and there should be an Alex code at the very front of the text, and that Alex access code is good for 52 weeks. You would follow the same route to get Alex as we see above, but you would then already have a code to plug in. So you would have that code provided within the bookstore package. It's up to you what you want. Like we're all unique. We're all different. So I think everything that you need is definitely within the digital form, or option 1, or the tactile form, option 2. So it's really up to you. In terms if we're renting, one thing to notice that if you are planning to go to part 2. Which is $14.50 next semester, you might want to opt for the 52-week rental so that you have both semesters taken care of, fall and spring. If you only have to take $1,400, well then the 18-week rental would be a better option since you only need 1 semester of the course. So that is your textbook options. Going down to our lecture. Lecture is basically really a chalkboard style lecture. I'm going to be using my iPad to present things on the big screen. So I like to write everything down that's important, so that you know what's important. And class will involve lecture in terms of lecturing concept, definitions, real-world scenarios, as well as going through problem solving, where I will set up problems that I will work through for the class. Also, sometimes we'll do some active learning where I'll pose a question and ask you all to sit down and try to work on that problem individually or as groups in 5 or 10 minutes during class time. So please, bring your calculator, bring a periodic table to class time. I think those are important things to have along with your note-taking device. I will not be streaming class time unless there's a sickness that has been documented by the dean's office or an athletic event, again documented. I will stream for those individuals, but we have to go through the proper channels. Otherwise, there will be no streaming of the class time. I will do recordings so that people can look back at class time if they need to, but I won't stream in the minute. I won't always be streaming the class, essentially. Probably the most important piece of this class is the homework. To really understand general chemistry, it's really beyond the concepts. I think a lot of the students can do the concepts and the definitions very, very well, but this class is also details the math behind the concepts. And the problem with mathematics is it takes hands-on practice, putting the pen or pencil to the paper and doing these questions again and again with variety to make sure that we really understand them come test time. So I've broken down the homework into modules. And these modules are basically by chapter. You can find these under the content and activities link. Again, that's kind of always our beginning when we're in the Brightspace banner. And from there, we have option 2, which is the module homework. And so this will basically take you to all the chapter modules, and they're all kind of organized in the same way. They have these different kind of headings as we go through each module. Like, for instance, there'll be lecture videos for each module, so not one lecture video for the whole chapter, but the individual videos highlighting one concept and then another concept. And you can find those with the blue headings that are within the module page. Below your lecture videos, there's always homework problem sets. This is definitely the most important piece of the puzzle, is really doing as many of these problems as possible and making sure that, if we need help, to reach out for that help, but also to make sure that we can do these on our own come test time. And you can find those with the red headings. And then I also have extra videos for that show me solving problems, and these have a purple heading, so that you can have supplementary help while you're working on problems as well. Both the lecture videos and the homework videos, 1 and 3, are purely supplemental. So it's up to you whether you want to utilize them or not. A lot of the lecture videos, I'll be definitely repeating a lot of what I say in those videos to the classroom. So it's not like you have to watch these lecture videos before class, but if you want to, you can. Again, both the videos part of the module are supplemental and up to you, the student, to decide. From class to class and week to week, I'll definitely break down the homework so you don't have to per se go to the modules to find what is assigned. The modules are really a good area to look for everything that will be assigned and everything that's coming up, but I will also help you to navigate. So after every class, I will post basically what you should be able to accomplish after that class, and then what's coming our way for the next class. And these will come out, they can be found in the course home, which is right where when you log into Brightspace and into the course, that should take you right to the course home announcements. But you should also receive an email, so make sure that email isn't going into spam. Make sure you're receiving email announcements from me so that you can follow. I know you might get sick of these emails, but they're sent to try to keep everybody on track and on pace with what's going on. So what I announce as far as coming up is always tentative. We like to see, how far we get in lecture. Sometimes questions arise, sometimes side discussions happen. So that's why, I will assign what I think we're going to cover that next day in class. But then after class is done, I'll say, okay, this is how far we got. This is what you can do now from a result of that class. Again, I'll say it more and more often that the more of this homework you do, the better. So the more practice you do, the better off you will be come test time. And make sure that's make sure that you can do these on your own. If we're always reaching out for help, whether that be a friend, the solution manual, help videos, whether they be mine or online, right? Realize that those are not going to be there for you come test time. So you really want to make sure that anytime you reach out for help, that you can practice that problem or similar problems to make sure that you know that you can do them on your own, and that way you can be successful come examination. Besides the homework, which is crucial for extra practice, I put old exams from 2017, 18, and 19 classes. These are real exams. Again, we have to go to content and activities, and then go to point 4, which is course materials. There's a lot of things within course materials, but one is old exams. And these are real exams, like I said, that I've given to past students. But I stress to not study just the old exams. There are many ways to ask these questions, and one year I asked certain questions in a certain way. In 2018, well, even though the concepts are the same, the questions are different. 2019, again, concepts are the same, but the questions are different. So realize that these are just extra practice venues and not something to solely rely on in your studying motif. I would say that again, and I say it here, the meat and potatoes or broccoli and seitan is the homework problems that we see above and with the red headings, right, in point number 2 at the very top of the screen. But there is extra things. So what I would do is make sure that we can do the homework problem sets or that are assigned for homework, and then when we get closer to the exam, start to look at these old exams for extra practice at that point. Throughout the semester, I will hold recitations. These are going to be held on Monday evenings from 6:45 to 7:45. These will be virtual over Teams, over the Teams platform. I will also do that Sunday before a mid-semester exam, and that's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. also on Teams. So definitely the Sunday before every mid-semester exam, I will hold a review session. For Monday evenings, it really just kind of depends, Usually the first week after an exam, there's not very many questions, so I usually skip that Monday. And then other Mondays, then we meet virtually. I will make sure that there are announcements and you are aware when I'm holding these Monday evening reviews as well as Sunday evening review sessions. I'll definitely be making that you aware via announcements. I want us to understand that these problem sessions are simply meant to address your questions. So I'm not coming prepared with a physical lecture or a physical review lecture. I'm figuring that you've been working on homework, working on problems, and you have questions, and that's what these review sessions are for, to answer your questions. So this is very much student-led discussion. So that's the student asking questions about homework problems, old exam problems, or concept problems, what have you. But the students are leading the conversation with the question, and then I can then follow suit with working the problem or giving a mini lecture, whatever is needed. These will all be streamed and recorded in terms of the recitations, and you'll be able to find this information within the course materials link. Throughout the semester, we're going to have homework quizzes. There's going to be 10 graded homework quizzes, basically 10 out of the 11 chapters that we will be covering. And so basically, once we finish a chapter, I'll then assign a homework quiz for you to do. Basically, normally you have about a week to complete the quiz, but I'll make sure those dates and times are very apparent in announcements. With the quiz, you can start it, you can stop it, you can then restart it. There's no time limit except for the due date and the due time during that date. So you have basically a week to get that done. You have 3 attempts to get the question right for each part of the quiz. Once you've passed the 3rd opportunity, then you get 0 points for that question. For each missed opportunity, you do lose a little bit of points. So if you get it correct the first time, you get the full amount of points. Second time, you lose a small percentage. 3rd time you miss, then now you get a 0 for that. So that means take your time. There's plenty of help out there. This is a learning process. I call them homework quizzes, and generally students do very well on them, and it's a very nice boost to their grade at the end of the semester. Most of our scoring, though, is through exams. So most of our points are going to be exams. Exams are technically scheduled for Mondays from 6:40 to 9:40 p.m. However, that is not what we're going to be doing. Our 4 exams will be taken online via Alex. And basically, to give everyone the greatest flexibility, exams will be made available on Sunday at 8 p.m. and they will close at 8 p.m. that following Wednesday. So you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to take the exam. So this allows, if maybe you feel a little bit sick on Monday, you still have plenty of time to be able to recoup and take the exam. Or if you have a conflict with another class, maybe another exam from another class, that gives you a little bit of mobility to shuffle around your study schedule. However, unlike the quizzes, once you start, you have 3 hours to complete it. So you can't start it and then come back to it at another day. You have to start it and finish it within the actual 3-hour time block. Basically, each semester exam is written to take no more than 1.5 hours. Generally, students are done within that time frame. But you have the full 3-hour opportunity to take the exam. So that's affords basically double time to everybody for those mid-semester exams. And so if you have an access time accommodation, this is already supplied within the exam platform. The only time I will allow for time accommodations to work will be for the final exam. So for the final exam, if you do have a time accommodation, you will be able to use it for that one, since it is a bigger exam and a cumulative exam. And so this is going to be on Alex, just like the quizzes are. So definitely start to familiar yourself with Alex. Play around with it. Make sure you know how answers need to be given, especially for the quizzes. If you get an answer wrong because of how you entered it, learn from that mistake and then redo the question again. I'm not looking at doing regrades for quizzes. This is a learning process, and you need to enter the answers in the correct format. So please learn how to do that through their tutorials, which is basically the top assignment in Alex. If you miss an exam, you will receive a 0 for that exam. However, if there is an emergency, please be transparent, not only with myself, but with the dean of your college. The dean or the dean's office has to verify your emergency, verify what's going on, and let me know that is something that I should then extend an accommodation to you. Without that dean's note of approval, then my hands are tied and I can't grant a time accommodation. So please make sure you are transparent with what's going on through contacting me and the dean's office. Do not wait until the last second, okay? So please keep that in mind. Here are the exam dates, pretty much once a month. There's the time span for when you can take exam 1, exam 2, exam 3. The final will be open up the entire week of finals week. It is technically scheduled for the 12th at 4:30 p.m. But again, I'm going to open this up at 8 a.m. on the 9th, the first day of finals, and it'll close the 13th at 8 p.m., which is the last day of finals. Again, it's just like your normal exam. It's on Alex, and you have 3 hours to accomplish it. Like I said earlier, if you have time accommodations through Access, I will grant those accommodations for the final. And lastly, remember that this document could change, that this is a great guide, and I provide it as much as I think I can to put down, the content, schedule, things that are required of you, plus some extra things as well, extra campus things that you might want to check out. But there might be a necessity to change some aspect of the syllabus. I'm not saying I will, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. So if there is changes, I will definitely make sure that I announce those changes to the syllabus and to the class as early as I can, to make sure that you're all aware and well adjusted to the change. Laboratory doesn't start for 2 weeks, so you have 2 weeks from the beginning of the semester before this begins. All of the lab manuals, experiments, and stuff are going to be found online through your Brightspace platform, but this will be through the labs version of Brightspace, not the lecture portion. And you need to print out these experiments and bring them to lab. You need to purchase a lab notebook, which you can do at the bookstore. This is a carbonless copy notebook, which allows you to record your lab data and hand it in. Super important is safety eyewear. You need to have OSHA approved safety glasses or goggles. Students who are not following this rule can be given a 0. Warnings, well, it says will not be given, but warnings may not be given. It really kind of depends on your TA. But make sure you purchase this at the UVM bookstore. Also, if you're a contact lens user, I would make sure you wear your spare pair of glasses. Contact lenses, the polymeric film could react with certain chemicals in the lab and fuse to your cornea. So we want to make sure we avoid that possibility. If for some reason you don't have a spare set of glasses, you definitely need to wear goggles, and you need to let your TA know. Because the protocol, if you get something in your eye with contacts, is definitely different than the protocol if someone just gets something chemical in their eye without that contact lens. Another important feature is lab attire. We have to be dressed appropriately. So we want full pants and a shirt with at least short sleeves. Shorts, short pants like capris are not allowed. Shirts with skin exposure like shoulder exposure, midriff, or back exposure are also not allowed. This is from a safety aspect because when chemicals get on your skin, they react. They can be very caustic. They can cause burns. I've seen quite a lot of burns in my day, so it's better to have a cloth material. That way, worst case scenario, if you get something on your clothing, you can take off your clothing in the bathroom or whatnot. So much more preferable to have that happen than to have your skin be burnt through chemical exposure. Also, full shoes. So that means sneakers are fine. So something constructed of leather or chemically resistant material. But I know we might not have all of that. So really, what we want to avoid is no open-toed shoes. Open back shoes. Anything that shows exposure to your foot. So no Crocs, no Tevas, no Chacos, no Birks, none of that stuff. So, if it's a lab day and it's nice out and you want to wear your sandals, just make sure you have a change of shoes for your lab in your backpack. So prior to start, with the 2 weeks, you should be getting together your lab safety notebook, your lab notebook, and your safety glasses, as well as completing the lab safety and academic integrity modules. These will appear in your lab's Brightspace platform. Make sure you have those 3 things done: the lab notebook, safety glasses, and the lab safety and integrity modules. Attendance is in class. Attendance, I know I'm not going to be taking attendance. It's up to you to come to class. I think students that come to class actually do much better than students that decide not to. We are all adults here. But in terms of lab attendance, this is something that we have to be wary of. If you miss more than 2 labs, you will receive an automatic F for the course. This is not the lab portion of the course. This is the entire course, you will receive an F4. If you just don't show up, you will receive a 0 for the lab that you missed. If you have a dean's letter of sickness or an athletic event, well, then you can do a remake or do a makeup later in the week, but you cannot make up a lab after the week has passed. So you have the ability to take or redo a lab if you're sick or away at an event during the week that lab was given, but not past that. If you do have a dean's note or athletic note, and you can't make up the lab, then you will not receive a 0 for that lab. It's just that your lab points your other labs will be worth more, essentially, for your lab points. But regardless, you cannot miss more than 2 labs. This is something that we deem important in terms of your hands-on or your experiential learning, that you must complete at least 8 of the 10 labs to be then, qualified as being taught, the experiential portion of the N2 laboratory setup. Any questions with lab scheduling, lab issues, makeup labs, you should all be forwarded to Christine Cardillo. She is our lab director, and she coordinates all of those, all the aspects of the lab. So you can email me, but if it's a lab-related thing, I will just be forwarding it on to her. So keep that in mind. There's also lab videos with the link here, a YouTube link. So if you want to watch what you're going to be doing that day, then you can do that. It's actually kind of a good idea because that helps with sometimes that helps with the quizzes that are given, because there will be a quiz for the labs, each lab that you go to. So as far as the format goes, they're roughly 2 hours and 45 minutes. Some are shorter, but most tend to take that long. You have usually a small recitation, a pre-lab overview, and then there's also lab cleanup, and post-lab calculations, as well as the actual experiment. And so you kind of have a protocol. It's like when first you arrive, you would turn in your pre-lab for the current week's lab, and the post-lab for the previous week's lab, and then you'll basically start with a recitation as well as a quiz. You get a lot more information from your TA that first day of class. And then at the very end of the day, there'll be post-lab calculations as well. So I would plan on, utilizing that entire time. That if it is a short lab, we'll stay the entire time and work on your post-lab questions so you can get them done. And that way the TA will be there so that if you need help on those post-lab questions, you can get that help as well. So I would just plan on being there for that 2 hours and 45 minutes, regardless if you finish early or not. Okay, course grades. I kind of wait on the point ranges till the end of the semester. That's because we do have 7 sections of general chemistry, and all of our teachers like to kind of talk to one another to see where our ranges are for A, B, C, etc. But what I want to stress here is the points. So notice that for the class, there's a total of 750 points. For the entire class, it's actually 1,000 points for all the points that are offered. So 75 or 3/4 of the points come from the lecture, and then we'll find 250 points come from the lab. So that just reflects the 4-credit course, 3 credits being lecture, 1 credit being lab. So that 750 is split into 3 different aspects. There is our mid-semester exams. Each is 125 points, so we got like 375 there. We have 10 quizzes, so that's 125 points. Each one is 12.5 points a pop. And then we have our final exam, which is 250 points. And so that gives us our 750 total points. Now, one thing, I know it looks like I see a slight error there. It says 200. That is incorrect. So that's, again, that's going to be 250. So one aspect I want to discuss here is my exam protocol. And basically what I do is that, if one of your semester exams is low, right, the lowest semester exam, I will replace it with the percentage you get on the final, so long as the final exam is higher. I want this to be a positive, not a negative. So as long as your final exam is higher than your lowest mid-semester exam, then your final percentage will replace it. And I show that in these two students here, example 1 and example 2. Example 1, the actual, exam 1, 85%, but exam 2, we got a 45%. And we kind of bounced back for the final then being 75%. Notice that what I counted was that 75% now twice, because of the final is higher than the lowest mid-semester exam. So because of that, that's why we have that change up with that 75%. Example 2, a different student was pretty much regular the whole time. The lowest was a 70%, and final got a 68%, and so those numbers remain. So there's no change because the final was the lowest grade, and so just the numbers will then stay. So that's how I do the grading. I think we, throughout the semester, there's always one kind of low-hanging exam, whether we're sick or just it was a tough week, with a lot of other things going on, other classes and due dates. And so this gives you a way to bounce back, with the final. The lab, like I said, is 250 points, so that makes up for our 1,000 total. And this is broken down into the safety quizzes, pre-lab questions, or pre-lab quizzes. There's technique. There's also post-lab calcs and questions as well. Again, your TA will inform you more about the point spread between those different pieces of the lab. And so as far as the grade, their percentage is simply taking your total points out of 1,000, and that is your percentage. So basically, you're just adding up all the points and dividing by 1,000. Lastly, with the grades is academic integrity. Basically saying, this is your education. Please do not cheat. Cheating does not help you, does not help the person you're cheating off of. Generally, the person you're cheating off of might not actually know what they're doing anyways. So I think it's best that you study your best, you try your best, so that way you are earning that grade, and you should feel, a sense of pride in that. Own your education. Study hard. You will be utilizing these aspects come later down the road in your upper level courses. Whether you believe that now or not, you will definitely see them again coming down the road. Be a little bit faster now. Here at the end is your tentative lecture schedule. This is my tentative plan for the whole semester. These are all the problems I will assign throughout the semester, so you know what's coming your way. Again, I will make announcements from class to class and week to week, disseminating this material and telling you exactly where we're at and what problems are the ones that we should be working on at this particular time. But here is a complete summary of everything that we will be doing from week to week, at least according to my tentative plans. as well as different holidays such as Labor Day, or different UVM important dates such as the last day to add class or the last day to add drop a class, as we see here, as well as exam days, where that exam is meant to start. Again, remember, we do have a 3-day window, but that's just showing you the actual day, that Monday, that were officially taken on the schedule. And so all of them chapters are here. Again, vacations, exams, UVM important dates, last day to withdrawal, exam 3. Everyone will be looking forward to turkey or tofurkey for Thanksgiving holiday, and then finishing up with the final exam. So that is our tentative lecture schedule. And then there is the lab schedule. This is not so tentative. This is what you'll be doing from week to week. So here I just have the week-to-week scenario. Notice again, the first 2 weeks there is no lab. Sorry for that second dot. It should be just the first there. August 26th through September 6th, there's no lab. And on that third week, we finally begin with a check-in. And then we have each one here, the experiment, what the experiment is going to be doing, as well as what it corresponds to in terms of the text, or in terms of the modules. So our density determination will be then literally looking at module 1. Module E has been removed. So those are the experiments that you need to print out before each of those days in lab. And then again, the lecture module that information corresponds to. And then basically once we get up to Thanksgiving, that's the last experiment is just before Thanksgiving, but we do have a checkout right when we come back from the holidays. The last bit of the syllabus is talking about different UVM entities such as Access. Access provides accommodations for students with maybe some learning issues or other disability services. Please make sure you go through contact Access so that we can provide proper accommodations for you, so that we can put you in the best environment for success. Religious holidays, basically I have no problem with any faith or any faith that you decide to practice. However, I am not aware of all the dates for religious holidays. So if you are someone that is a avid practicing member of your faith, and there's certain holidays that are important, right? And maybe you're missing class or something's going on, you need to inform me of those. Please do that sooner than later. I mean, obviously these dates are on the calendar or on your religious calendar, so please just maybe look through the tentative lecture schedule, see if there's any issues that you might need to address, and the sooner we handle that, the better. So please do that. In terms of sickness, a lot of students go to the Center for Health and Well-Being, and that's important for identifying your medical illness, but they do not provide notes to the teachers. The only one that provides notes to the teacher for verification is the dean's office. So make sure that you in a very timely manner, contact your dean's office so that they can verify and report your illness to all of your teachers, so everyone is aware. Nothing wrong with going to the Center for Health and Well-Being because you're sick, but also make sure you contact your college dean's office so that they can verify it, talk to your teachers so that they can give you the proper accommodations. If it's something super serious, again, the process is still the same. Notify your dean's office. We can go from there and work through a time frame. And again, make sure everyone's above board. Everyone knows what's going on. I will bend, but I won't break. So for the most part, the quizzes, there are no exceptions. There's usually a full week to do these quizzes, so there's plenty of time to get it done. So there are no exceptions for quizzes, maybe some extremely special circumstances, but that's something that I'll do on a case-to-case basis. And please remember, I only take the top 10 out of 11 quizzes, so you do have one kind of freebie, but I would just make sure that we write these things down, make sure that we take notes in our calendar so that we know when things are due, and we're not missing those very simple points. For mid-semester and final exams, again, there is already still some flexibility, but again, if there's the issues arise, you definitely need to let the dean's office know, as well as myself. So again, everything needs to go through the dean's office for any type of makeup accommodations, time accommodations, etc. If for some reason you cannot make up the exam because of extended sickness, or if you decide not to take the exam, then that would be your lowest exam, and you would receive a 0, but then of course the final exam score would replace that 0. If there's some really extreme situations, we just need to have ongoing updates, and then there could be a discussion of incompletes or a medical withdrawal depending on the severity and the amount of time missed. So we do have protocols for all different levels of sickness. COVID-19 accommodations, again, if you feel sick, it's your duty to get tested for COVID. Also, I would say just stay home and quarantine yourself until you get that test, just to be sure. COVID is still running around. It still happens to, I've still seen students getting COVID as well as friends. So make sure that you keep yourself safe as well as your peers safe here at UVM. If you realize that I know that's missing a class, but also realize even though I don't necessarily stream the class, I do record the class, so you will have the ability to watch the recorded video, or as long as you got the dean's approval for missing that class, then I could then put you on the streaming list for that particular day that you missed. But I definitely need that dean's verification of the illness, whether it be COVID or other. In terms of other things on campus, health and safety, we talked about the Center for Health and Well-Being. Also, there's CAPS for any types of counseling or psychiatric care that you might need. There's also CARE, which is basically if you're a UVM student and you're concerned about somebody else, whether that be a faculty or another student, you can contact CARE, and this can be done anonymous, but you can also do that through the contact number or through website. It is college, and there is alcohol and cannabis around, so just to let you know that alcohol and cannabis does not make you smarter, and it doesn't improve your results come test time. So it definitely impairs your ability to be successful, affects sleep patterns, memory problems, etc. So I would try not to use the alcohol or the cannabis while you're here at UVM. We also have a lot of diversity, equity, inclusion on campus. We strive to really be open arms with our diverse community of different nationalities, different sexes, different sexual preferences, etc. on campus. Here are a few that can help you, and links to access more information, such as the Interfaith Center for looking at different religious traditions, philosophy, or spiritual practices, the Mosaic Center for students of color, which is creating a nice, diverse, and rich tapestry in our community here at UVM. The PRISM Center, which serves our queer and trans communities here at the university, as well as the UVM Women and Gender Equity Center, looking at gender equity issues and identity, not issues, I shouldn't say that, but gender equity and identities where you can meet people of a similar mindset, and find people of your own thinking. Lastly, we don't come across this too much. With grade appeals, there's a format to follow in that case. And then FERPA writes basically saying, your parents can email me all they want, but I will never talk to them about your grades or anything like that. I could talk to your advisor or someone within the UVM community, but never your parents. So that is basically a quick run through the syllabus. I ask that you take the time to walk through it yourself and make sure you understand all the points that have been made, and you have a good idea of how this class is going to be run, as well as what is expected of you, and the resources that are available to you. So what I would do is keep exploring Brightspace to make sure you understand all the information I just provided on Brightspace. I would also start to explore Alex to make sure that you understand that. The Alex platform, however, will not start up in terms of being able to access until I believe August 18th. But I'm gonna basically try to change that date here. We'll see. I'll have to make an announcement about that. I digress. That's enough of the syllabus for today. You have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.